coming at you. Good Tuesday, everybody. Welcome once again to BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, how you doing today, man?
Good. We were just talking about how Izzy the cat
Yeah, she
got the spinnerbait down, but this is the not to be confused. How long have you had Izzy now?
couple years.
Year and a half?
Yeah.
2 years?
Yeah.
She's kind of slowing down.
She's old. I mean, she was an old cat to begin with. Speaking of cats, and we're going to get into this discussion. It's not going to be Cat Talk Live here, but did you see what happened in the Monday Night Football game last night?
Black cat in the end zone.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was healthy, too, eating that stadium food.
Mm-hmm. You think someone brought it in, or do you think it lived there?
No, I think it lives there.
You know,
Just
I
hanging
do
out.
have the no black cats crossing my path.
We're
on
going to get into
tournament
that,
day.
all right? And one of the things that I want to get into discussion with our guest today, we're going to have Ott DeFoe on here in about 5-10 minutes, is superstitions. I know it's been discussed before,
Yep.
but this is the thing. I'm not talking about, preparation, superstitions. I got to do this, and this. I'm talking about stuff that actually happens on the water, and you're like, holy crap, I can't believe that just happened.
That's not superstition, though.
I got bad mojo. If you see a black cat on a boat dock.
Oh, okay.
You see
You're
what
not
I'm
talking
saying?
about stuff you do. You're talking about stuff that happens.
Yeah. Situations that have occurred on the water during a tournament.
Lowe's truck drives past a bridge and a mirror falls off and breaks on your trolling boat or something like that.
Yeah. Has there been situations that have occurred that are technically not
Super. It's nothing you do. It's not a
habit,
secret.
yeah.
It's not like that you had like the no red underwear. It's stuff that happens on the
Yeah.
water where you just look at your Marshall co-angler partner and say, we're screwed.
I can't believe that just happened.
I'm trying to think if any of that.
Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, one time I had zero fish. Got a crankbait caught in the tree, like up in a tree over a branch.
Yeah.
Broke it off. Crankbait fell down in the water.
Yeah.
3-pounder came up and ate it off the surface while I was trolling over to get it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, we're screwed.
My
Can't
biggest
catch
one.
him.
No, my biggest one is snakes on docks. If I see a snake on a dock,
You don't fish that
that's
dock?
bad news.
Let me tell you what, one time, I remember this. One time I was fishing in Nichols. This was way back in, not way back, probably 2012, 2013, and it was the May or June one. Mm-hmm. And I was about a quarter of the way back in Drowning Creek on the right-hand side. Can't fish it now because there's a break wall. And the dock is gone. There's a new dock.
Yeah.
And it's a rounded peak, but there was an old dock there. And I was dragging a football head off of it with my buddy Juice. And for a solid half hour, we watched a blue heron on that dock eat a snake. And the snake was hanging out of its mouth, and you could see the neck and throat moving of the bird while it sat there with the tail of the snake sticking out of its throat.
Yeah.
And that got me pretty squirmish.
Yeah. I am terrified of snakes to begin with, but if I see a dock that has a snake on it, I leave.
You're done.
Leave. And then one of the things that I remember from you is it's not necessarily a bad luck deal or anything like that, is when you were covering the events many, many years ago on Wheeler. What happened? What did you see on Wheeler?
Covering the events on Wheeler.
Yeah. In other words, you were not taking photos of the action on the water. You were taking photos of something else.
What was it? I don't remember this. You've stumped me, Mark.
Yeah, and then there was something else that took place
What was it?
at Wheeler also.
That was a tornado, wasn't it?
No. That's where you got attacked by the dogs.
Oh, that was Pickwick.
Was it Pickwick?
That was Pickwick.
Okay, I thought it was Wheeler.
No, it was Wheeler. No,
Yeah.
you're right. It was
Yeah.
Wheeler.
Yeah, where you had the attack of the dogs.
Yeah, we show up. We show up, Dave and I, we're renting a house. It's a great house. We get in, there's these glass windows. And, rookie move there with the phone on. There's glass windows, and, we get everything packed, and all of a sudden we hear, help, help. And I look out, and there's this old man laying up on the top of the drive.
Yeah.
It's kind of we're at the end of a cul-de-sac, and there's 2 dogs walking around. One's a black lab, one's a little female pit bull. And I'm a dog guy, but I'm cautious around the aggressive breeds.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all pit bulls are bad. I'm not saying all pit bulls are angels.
You're not categorizing them.
Yes. But, I mean, if there's a dog out there that I'm going to be cautious of, it's going to be a pit bull or a chow or something like that.
What if you see a pit bull on a dock?
Yeah, no, I'm not getting my crankbait back. But anyway, so the guy is up there hurt, and these dogs just look happy and stuff. And the black, so I go outside to say, I'm coming, sir. So I thought he'd fallen, right?
Yeah.
And the black lab comes up, and I pet it, and everything's fine. And the pit starts circling me. And Dave's like, he stayed at the doorway. He's not leaving the doorway. He goes, I would not run if I were you.
The old man said that?
No, that's what Dave said.
Oh, okay.
And I said, I'm coming. Well, this pit bull circled me and then came at me hardcore and latched onto my inner thigh. Ripped my jeans. It was terrifying. Everyone's like, if a dog ever comes at me, I'll just kick it.
Yeah.
No, you're not
Doesn't
going
work.
to. It doesn't work that way when all you see is teeth and a giant head coming at. So I turn and run, and Dave's like, don't run. Get inside. I'm bleeding down my leg. This thing took a big bite out of me. My jeans are ripped. My adrenaline's pumping.
Yeah.
The dog's at the door.
Yeah.
Dial 911. We got time. This story's only about a quarter of the way over.
Yeah.
Dial 911. Hey, there's a guy that has fallen. This is our address. It is a rental house, and I just got attacked by a dog that won't let me go out there and help him. Well, we've been in this house for 20 minutes now. I've been attacked by a dog. There's an injured guy laying at the top of the hill. Here comes 2 police officers, the fire truck, and an ambulance. And the first police officer rolls up to the top, and I'm in the house looking out through the glass window.
Yeah. Bleeding.
Dog comes running up at the police officer, pulls his weapon, and shoots at the dog twice in this neighborhood. So now we've got gunshots. Grazes the dog's head. It goes running past in the backyard. It's gone there. Come to find out, that dog had also attacked that old man.
And the old man was
elderly
in bad shape.
gentleman,
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah.
And he was not in great shape. Then they came in. They checked me out. I declined to go to the hospital. About this time, the owners of the rental property show up, and come to find out they had just moved out of the house that we were staying in. This was the first time they had ever rented it.
Yeah.
The dogs had gotten out of the house they now lived in about a block away, went home and said, who the hell are these people in our house?
Yeah.
And on top of it, this gets even better. Just hang with me here. So, I tell this story and stuff. So Don Barone, being the writer that he is, wants to do a story about how the independent media guy tried to save the old man and got bit by a dog. And I was like, listen, Don, let's be honest here. Like, I went out, I got a quarter of the way, the thing bit me, and I ran inside. There's nothing heroic about that. Well, he starts digging into it, and he can't get any answers from it.
Yeah.
Well, it comes to find out, the lady who owned the dog who we were renting the house from was the president of the Humane Society in that county. And then her husband was the lawyer who then contacted you and said, what is this going to take for it to go away? Because we're on the hook for some serious stuff here. And we got free housing that week, and I got nothing but a good story and a scar on my inner thigh.
So, pit bulls on boat docks. Not a good thing. Not a good thing.
That really escalated from just, do you have any superstitions to it? Now it's
I don't think you ever told that
8:41.
story. I don't think we ever talked about that.
No.
How many years ago was that?
That would have been 2012, 11, 12, somewhere around there.
A little while ago.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Good show today. I want to remind everybody, tomorrow I am really, really looking forward to having Zell rolling on. And let's be honest, Matthew, the guy has not performed that well over the latter part of his career. And when I was setting it up, I was like, dude, we're going to talk about that. And so many of the seasoned vets have somewhat struggled over the past 4 or 5 years. And we're going to get a little bit into that. Adaptability, changing the way that you fish. Obviously, he is famous for what, Matthew?
The Zell pop art top waters, the way he modifies that 3-hook Zell roll and spook. He's got a little deal called the Prank out now, which kind of is a crankbait / pop R deal.
Yeah.
He signs his autograph with a pop R with the feather treble on the end.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to talk to him. And then obviously, what are his plans for 2020? Is he going to continue? Is he going to retire? You know, what the scoop is on that. It's funny how the rumors that are flying around right now about some of the guys actually considering retiring, but most of those rumors have been, squashed, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. So really, really looking forward to Zell tomorrow. And then on Friday, we're going to get into a little bit more conversation about this new league that has been formed out of Missouri.
On Thursday,
sorry. And what I've done, this guy's been everywhere.
Yeah, so you've compiled what you think the questions that have been missed in the wide array of interviews that he has done. Listen to them, done your homework on it, and hit him with what you want to know, probably having to do some questions, I'm assuming, based on your 25 years at UPS in the corporate world, financial stuff. So you're going to ask him some boring questions, is what I'm saying. But
not necessarily.
But it's very intriguing in the same aspect.
Not necessarily boring, but just questions that folks out there may not have thought of based upon so many of the interviews that he has done. I'm very intrigued by the whole deal. And the biggest part that I'm intrigued by is the fact they have zero money right now from sponsorships. Zero. Not a dime.
I had an interesting chat with someone on the FLW Pro circuit yesterday, and we were talking about this, just kind of their thoughts and talking about if they're going to fill the field. And it occurred to me, based on what they've said, I'm the guy that they're trying to get to fish this tour. Think about it.
Yeah.
I fished the Opens before. I fished the Costas. I had some success there.
Fish the Nation.
I fished the Bass Nation. I want to get on. I was wanting to get on the FLW tour. I didn't. I've wanted to get on the Elite Series. I haven't. This is the perfect avenue for me. So I'm interested because, I mean, heck, if that makes sense, I mean, I'm the guy they're trying to get, not me specifically, but people in my situation, position right now.
Similarities.
Point of my fishing, quote unquote, air quotes, career. I call it that because I just cashed a $20,000 check. It was called a fruitless venture. It was called a dumbass move before the check cash, but now it all makes sense. But I'm just saying, so that now I'm kind of intrigued too, because he pointed out, he's like, heck, you're the type of guy that they're trying to get to go, yeah, this is a great stepping stone for me.
You're the target consumer.
That's yes.
For what they are trying to form with the formation of that league. So I don't know, options. I was on Ike Live. They did their 100th show last week.
Wow. How many BTLs have we done?
I have no idea. Probably, at least maybe 1,000 when you throw in the XM shows in there.
Oh, yeah.
Probably 1,000.
So 100 Ike Lives.
Yeah.
That's a milestone to reach that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially when he does like one every 6 months now.
Did you see what Bry the Carpenter had in his front yard the other morning?
Yeah.
He had a naked dude in bowling shoes.
Obviously, the dude had been listening to BTL, intrigued by the whole bowling thing, and went a little too far.
It was literally his Bry the Carpenter's the producer, mixed board guy. That's a kind of jack of all trades there for the Ike Live show.
Yeah.
He lives on the East Coast. He's in Jersey, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And his camera on his house.
What is it called? Ring
or whatever. Sensed the motion and went off and recorded it. And it was literally a random naked guy just in his front yard doing inappropriate things wearing bowling shoes.
Yeah, he was doing looking for a little action on the lanes.
It was rather disturbing.
Wow, yeah.
But hilarious at the same time.
Yeah. So anyway, he was the guy with the MPFL was on there, and pretty interesting stuff. So I'm intrigued by some of the questions that have not been asked, and answers are not out there. And we may not get answers on Thursday, but be assured you will not be bored by Thursday's show.
Okay.
All right?
Won't be bored by today's show either.
No. Looking forward to talking to him. First full season. Had a decent year. I think he had
Ott DeFoe.
Had over 60,000 in earnings, I think. Combined with obviously his win at the Classic. So, had a decent year.
You think you got any bang for the buck for that Classic win, or was it just the trophy and that week and it's special? And
I don't know. You can ask him that. Ask him. I don't know. I think Bass was very, what would be a good term?
Fair?
Definitely fair.
But reserved.
Yeah, definitely fair. The comments, and if you haven't seen the documentary that we did on that entire Classic, check it out. It's called 49th. The Champions Toast, there were some really good comments said in there. And normally people don't get to see what is said at the Champions Toast. But I actually recorded that, and that was part of the documentary. So I don't know, man. Did he get... Obviously, it's a no-brainer. Did he get as much as he would have if he would have continued to be a part of Bass? No.
And then he had the health deal.
Yeah.
That was a heart deal, right?
Yeah.
And, you look at it, you're like, oh, I made that. But the guy missed the last tournament and still made the Red Crest with ease.
Yeah.
Didn't even fish it.
I know.
That's happened a couple times in the past. I remember Kevin Short made a Classic where he missed a tournament. A couple guys have done that on the FLW Tour before, but still impressive when you miss 16, what is it, like whatever an eighth is. What is it, 13%?
I don't know, dude. 12%,
yeah.
12.5%
of your season and still make the championship.
Yeah, good point. All right, coming back with Ott DeFoe right here on a Tuesday. Stay tuned.
Serious about catching fish, that HDS is a dead giveaway. You've got the best fish finding sonar money can buy. Time to build the ultimate fish finding system with live sight sonar. See what your lure is doing in real time. Watch fish strike as it happens. See for yourself. Take the Live Sight Sonar 30-day challenge. If Live Sight Sonar doesn't help you find and catch more fish, send it back, no questions asked.
All of us on the Pro Tournament Trail use Gamakatsu hooks.
Why?
Because they are absolutely the best.
It's not about how many bites you get.
It's how many you put in the boat.
Gamakatsu makes hooks for every fishing style.
We didn't come this far to lose fish.
Did you?
For more information, visit gamakatsu.com.
We've paired one of the most iconic hulls in the history of bass boats with a proven lineup of trusted accessories. We're bringing you best-in-class value and performance, leaving others in your wake. Turnkey value, turnkey performance. The Pantera 2 is an overachiever in the 19-foot category. Once you hit the throttle, you'll feel the rush, and there's no looking back.
Guys, Gerald Swindle, Sunline Pro Staff. If you're a flipper, a slackline hook setter, you're really putting a lot of impact into your hook set, look for the shooter. It comes off the smooth, really smooth. Like when you're flipping, it is smooth. If you're gonna be drop shotting and cranking, Sniper's the deal, man. It seems like it's a little bit less likely, like on a sharp hook set, it doesn't seem like it likes it as much. But for coming off the spool on spinning rod, leaders, cranking, like if I'm gonna throw a big plug at Guntersville, I've still got strong tensile strength. It's not gonna give out on me, but yet the line's thin enough it'll get down. So to me, shooter takes a hook set, Sniper's for everything else. So if you're gonna slack line them, go shooter.
Blue Water by TH Marine. Offering LED lighting solutions for your boat, trailer, truck, ATV, and so much more.
Engineered and built to be rugged with waterproof and submersible options. Designed for easy installation, Blue Water is available in a variety of colors and styles. All backed by a limited lifetime warranty. Blue Water by TH Marine.
The name SPRO says it all. SPRO stands for Sports Professionals. When you look at the pro staff that SPRO has brought on board over the past 15 years, it's been pretty incredible. I mean, one got it just then. From the development of the rock crawler to the McStick, from the Fat Papa to the Little John series, when you tie a SPRO bait on, you know it's been designed by a professional to get the job done.
At Duckett Fishing, we have assembled the top pros in the country to help us design rods to give you a competitive advantage. Castability, strength, durability, action, sensitivity, weight and balance, and consistency. Combine that with the best warranty in the industry, and you have rods that are pro-driven.
Duckett Fishing, pro-driven.
I got my power pole down, stuck in the mud in the bottom of the lake, sitting so still in the wind and the waves, could even be a hurricane. I got my power pole down.
Hey guys, Cliff Perch here with AFCO. I've got the new camo hooded reaper. It's going to be a great thing both for fishing and hunting this fall. I can tell you a couple of the features about it. Got the face mask like all the reapers do, vented in front. It's got the fleece on the inside, so it's really comfortable. It's super warm. When you come down to the pocket, it's got this little snap system called Block Tapey, and it's silent. You know, it doesn't make that sound that other snaps and other systems that hook it together make. Great for hunting, and it's going to keep that stuff in your pocket.
All right, we are back on a Tuesday, continuing with another fantastic week. 4 shows this week. And I have been challenged.
Well, there's an intriguing review. It was put up October 25th. I just saw it, though, just perusing through comments.
Yeah.
It's from J Lane Fish.
Okay.
I actually have no name there, so.
Okay.
If you want to follow through on this and actually put some parameters on it. I see a couple of original Vixens over there. I see some Big Daddy Strike 3s.
Yeah.
Some bets that you have come out on the winning end with some BTL listeners, viewers, etc.
Yes.
Well, you have another option.
What is the wager?
You have another option. Jaylane Fish says, Mark, I will make a bet with you. I've got 3 original Wiggleworts, big deal, I know, that LSU will win the title in college football this season.
So is he giving me the field?
That's
versus
what I don't
LSU?
know. That's not been established in this. But versus the field, maybe he'll give you a staple of teams. Maybe you can pick 4 teams or something. Maybe it is the whole. Maybe he's that confident in Joe Burrow, Coach O.
I like Coach O.
And the Tigers that he'll give you the field for 3 OG warts. Yeah. But you got to email Mark, Jaylane Fish. He accepts, but it's mark at basszone.com. And then once the parameters are set up, we'll talk about it. And we'll have it on.
I'd take that wager. Take the field.
What are you willing to throw up, though? I mean, if he's got 3 OG Wiggleworts. Don't put the BDS
No,
no, because I need those.
You greedy little bastard. Jeez.
There's got to be.
No, I'm just kidding.
There's got to be something.
I got 2 really good Vixens over there that I would.
The original Vixen?
Not the original. All right. I can't do the original, dude.
No, I hear you.
That's too special.
There's got to be something.
We got a Zell rolling line ball. What else we? It's probably going. What the hell are
we got a Zell rolling line ball. This line was used by Zell rolling. It is monofilament. And it was used in Elite Series tournament competition probably 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Has been in the studio since. I fished it out of the dumpster after Zell stripped his line off following day 1 of competition. And then I rolled it up into a compact, neat, nice line ball about the size of a
pear. A plum.
It does. It looks like a small
plum.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But I mean, it's mine. But I don't want to put. Wait, how do I lose in this? This is my Zell rolling line ball, not yours. You can't bet my line balls for your bets.
All right, man. Just do this. Send me an email and we'll get it figured out. I like Ohio State. I think the game this weekend, Ohio State and Penn State, is going to be an incredible football game. Hey, you still got to beat Alabama. You know, maybe we'll see what happens. Anyway, but I do like Coach O. He's awesome. Really, really like him. Anyway, time to go to our guest.
We're just going to go talk to Ott DeFoe right here.
Yeah.
We're just going to get out there and get this interview over with.
He is epic.
I talked to the Cajun Baby about it. He called it. He's like, hey, LSU, real deal. And I was like, I got nothing on OU. You seen us with Jay. Then we go out. Yeah,
we got nothing.
I haven't even looked at the rankings or anything.
We got nothing. All right, let's bring our guest in. You there, man?
I'm here.
All right, a little bit of football talk there. Sorry, man, but
it's all good. I'm looking at that line ball, Matt. How does he re-spool a whole reel every time?
It was a bunch. It was a bunch. Now I'll also, if you thought Zell's line balls were impressive,
who else? Whose is that?
I have a Mark Daniels Jr. line ball here.
Okay.
It even has a jig embedded in it. It has a jig and several treble hooks. See the treble hooks there? Embedded in the line ball. Now this is fluorocarbon. Clearly you could tell.
Yeah. Right.
This is from the Bassmaster Classic that you won.
Okay.
After the second day. This is the line that he used on day 2.
Yeah.
I believe he was ahead of you going into that final day, wasn't he?
After the second day, yeah. I think he was in second. He was either in second or third.
Yeah. So this is the Mark Daniels Jr. There's even I think there's a leaf in there from the parking lot there. So
East Tennessee.
Yeah.
You got an East Tennessee leaf in there, so you're transporting parasites from Tennessee back to Oklahoma. So.
No, that would be the Jordan Lee Livewell water that I have over there. That one probably might get me in some trouble.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for taking time out, Ott. A pretty decent year this year. What are your thoughts when you sit back and kind of look at what happened over 2019?
Man, it really was. Obviously the Classic there at the beginning of the year, it would have been a good year regardless after that event. But but the rest of the season on the Bass Pro Tour, we had 8 events. I only got to fish 7 of them, due to missing the last one for my heart surgery and stuff. But fishing 7 events and ended up 16th in the points, so making the Red Crest pretty easily. Would have most likely been a top 10, had I got to fish that last event. But hey, man, I had other places I needed to be and other things I needed to get done. But no, all in all, a really, really solid event. Made 3 championships out of those 7. Ended up making 2 cups. Yeah, I started to look at the year, without the Classic, it was a good year. with the Classic, it would have been a great year regardless. And no, I was definitely a year I'm very thankful for, and a great season overall.
All right, a lot of people want to know, how is your health? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm 100% better than I was, before my surgery for sure. So I'm back to 110%. It was, at the Red Crest, that was about 8 or 9 weeks after my surgery, and I still really wasn't at 100% then. I felt like I was, but I really wasn't. And I could tell after a couple of days of practice and stuff that I really wasn't quite back where I needed to be yet. But no, I ended up about 12 weeks after or so. We had a cup event, and I really felt like then that I was back to, really to 100% at that time.
You and I are roughly the same age, early to approaching mid-30s, although we're at drastically different levels of responsibility and life maturity. Dude, I don't really think about my health a lot like that. I mean, I just go out and do it all. I mean, you've had this, you've got the family. I mean, you're right in the middle of a year that you won the Classic and fishing. I mean, did it kind of change the way you look at things going forward?
It definitely did, and it really wasn't a thing where it's any kind of health issue I've dealt with, for any amount of time. Mm-hmm. That was what was interesting to learn with this. From my primary care to my cardiologist to the heart surgeon, all of them, they were like, listen, you don't have heart disease. You don't have, like a chronic illness. What you had was an injury. I didn't, and when they told me I had a torn mitral valve, I'm like, I didn't even know I had a mitral valve. I don't know what that is. So I'm glad I've got one, I guess, but apparently it's broke. So heart disease, it wasn't anything like that. It truly was an injury. Okay. So that was relieving to hear, obviously that it's not something that I'm probably going to be a chronic deal that I've got to deal with the rest of my life. It was the injury, fixed it, just like breaking your arm was their exact words. They said it's an injury that might as well be considered being the same thing. So, and it was just one of those deals that happened, and thankfully, we were able to catch it. It is something that is much more common to see in older people. I guess just as your heart gets older and, it's beat a lot longer and, you've lived a lot longer, that it's more common to see in older people. But other than that, it's been good and easy to fix. And it did make me more aware of what I'm putting into my body. Living on the road and eating fast food a lot. And I'm still, like I said, it's not anything I'm going to have to deal with. They didn't tell me that I've got to really watch everything that I eat or anything, but it just does make you a little bit more aware. And then it makes you enjoy life, really try to enjoy life every single day a little bit more. It certainly does put an emphasis back on that. And not that I felt like I ever did take it, for granted, but the really, as busy as this year is, and then really would have been, I was home about 5 or 6 weeks straight, basically, immediately following my surgery. And that I hadn't been home 5 or 6 weeks straight, and who knows when, nor would I have been. So that it was really, it sucked that I had to have heart surgery to do that, but it was neat to get stuck at home. It really was.
Nice. All right, I want to reflect back on 2019 real quick, with it being the first BPT, and I don't know if you've ever done this in your career, but obviously new format, new trail, all of that.
Right.
Do you go back and reflect on each event? In other words, do you analyze what you did this year? Did you learn things this year that you're going to carry over to next year from a strategy standpoint, from a method standpoint? How much education and history really went into this first year that you could utilize going forward?
It's not a deal where I sit down and I'm like, okay, let me rewatch all the shows, and I'm going to, kind of break down what I did right or wrong, what other guys did right or wrong. I don't really, look back over it and try to really, I don't study it that way, I guess. If that's kind of what you're asking, I don't personally do that. But I do try to make mental note of stuff that happened throughout the year, as it happened. So, whether it's more times than not, the biggest lesson and one thing Jenny and I do is at the beginning of each year, or actually about this time of year, we'll look back, once all the tournaments are over, we write a list down at the beginning of each year of business goals, fishing goals for the season, of a classic win, a red crest win, angler of the year, making the red crest, it had been making the classic, we actually write those down on a piece of paper and put a box beside it to either put a check in or an X in at the end of the year. And that is kind of our physical recap of what, so we have that checklist we'll go through, but then we'll also write goals of what lesson did I learn. So it's not rewatching tape or anything like that, but it's just, kind of a mental exercise as much of anything of what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What can I improve on? But like I said, it's not actually watching the tape to do that, but it is written out on a piece of paper. And then at the end of the year, we kind of go back and score that. This year, we were able to check off the classic win. Angler of the year, and making cups. We got 2 of the 4, so we do have that checklist that process we go through at the end of the year.
That's cool.
How often do you get through with a tournament and when you go back and look at it and you go, man, I really did something wrong. I really screwed up something here. I mean, obviously you're a great angler who finishes, but I'm just curious. I feel like a lot of us, the average fisherman, like every tournament, are like, I can't believe I did that. Like, what was I thinking?
Right.
How often do you have one of those moments?
I'll be honest and saying it's probably at least half of the ones throughout the year. And the only ones as a professional that you should be able to look back and say that you didn't screw up royally on are the ones you didn't win. And guess what? I only won one this year. It was a pretty good one, but there was only one that I did. And even in it, I still screwed up. I mean, I still did things wrong, but I was able to win. But, 2 that immediately come to mind with truly very different finishes were Lake Conroe. That was my worst finish of the year this year. I locked myself in on the north end of Conroe, which is where I always fish, whether it was TTBC, it was a classic before, whatever it was. I like the north end of Conroe best, and I've done well up there. I'd always had good tournaments fishing the north end of the lake. When we went there this year, I never looked at anything south of the bridge, not at all. I was totally focused on the north end of the lake, because we do have a shortened amount of practice time. That was a huge mistake, obviously. So looking back at that one, it was like, what am I doing? I'm not near anything. I was totally out of the ballpark. There were a few guys did good up there, but I just never got it going. Another one that I made the top 10 in, and had a really strong finish was our second event at Table Rock, the one that was in June. The first, all the first rounds of competition were in the evening. That was the 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. event. And, dude, that time of day, for the way I was catching them offshore, I was catching them offshore cranking and stuff. It was just like a Tennessee River bite or our lakes here, Douglas and Cherokee's postpone. And, dude, it was easy that, in that evening time frame. I mean, those fish were just chomping. Championship day is back to 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. So the only period that overlapped was the final period, which would have been our first period the first few days, which was my toughest one, honestly. The second and third period were my best. So I'm not going to get to fish during my prime time. I still tried to make that work too much in the morning when I really knew it wouldn't. I knew there was still a lingering shad spawn, but I didn't just immediately go to that, and it really ended up costing me. So those were the worst finish and the top 10 that I screwed up. I screwed up in both of them.
So while this is happening then, and I want to relate this back to the average guy, are you having a fight in your head? Are you saying, I can't believe I'm up here in the north end, I can't believe I'm doing this stupid crankbait thing? Or at the time, are you still thinking, I'm doing the right thing, and it's not till after and you see how it all went down that you realize it was a mistake?
Conroe was definitely after, just because I felt like I was on the best part of the lake. I really did. And it typically is. So Conroe was definitely after the fact and finding out that it was like, I feel like there's a smaller population of fish on that south end, and they were all funneled into small areas. Where at Table Rock, it was during the first period that I finally did lay it down and go to some docks and start catching fish right away, on shad spawn type of stuff. But I only caught the tail end hour or 30 minutes of it or whatever. So it was during that one that I realized, I adjusted, I caught some, but I was already kind of behind the 8 ball at that point.
Interesting. All right. With my high school basketball team, we're trying to implement this offense. It's called read and react. And it's kind of geared about taking advantage of what the defense gives you. And what I'm doing is I'm applying that same kind of principle to reading and reacting to what's taking place on the water. When you are reading and reacting and trying to interpret what's taking place throughout the day on the BPT, is that any different? And how much of an impact is the decision to either stay or go, depending on the area that you're fishing, with the MLF style format? What are your thoughts?
Well, with our format, the nice thing with that is you have that information, and the information being what the score is. With the way it was with bass, other guys are catching fish, but has half the field got a limit yet? Or, are most guys stuck on 2? Or, are there a lot of big fish already showing up? With Major League Fishing, we know if we're keeping pace, if you're falling behind. And obviously, if you're not catching any in any format, you're probably not doing well regardless. But you have that information, so it's much easier to look at. And with ours, it's so important, especially in those events that are not schooling. I don't mean busting on the surface, but just they're not the events where fish are schooled up. If it's the events where you're having to just steady pick them off. If you get behind in that type of an event, it's really, really hard to catch up. If you get behind at Table Rock where the fish are really grouped up, it's not that big of a deal because I can pull up on a place and catch 20 and 20 throws, and I'm going to be right back where I need to be. So having that information, you're able to read kind of what those other guys are doing. Now, what I've seen, from watching Cup and Select shows for several years, that always score tracker update. Greg Hackney's got another fish. He's leading by 25 pounds. And your immediate thing is, Greg's catching them flipping because that's Greg Hackney. Well, he could be catching them on a square bill. So assuming what the other guy's doing is a good way to get in a really bad position because everybody's so good at everything. But so you can't read the fishing part of it out of it, but you can know whether you're keeping pace, you're off target, or you're just way out in left field.
All right, just a follow-up real quick, Matt. Is it really that difficult? I get the schooling aspect where they're bunched up, but when they're not bunched up, because so many times, yes, there might be 1 or 2 guys that are really, really on them if they're schooled up. Is that decision much more difficult now to make a move than it is when you were trying to go after, 5 big ones?
I feel like it's easier for me personally. I feel like it's easier to do because I know I can at that period break or whatever, I can look at that score tracker and see, so much of ours is, the first several days is all about the cut line.
Right.
So it's not about winning those first few days. It's good to, but that's not necessarily your goal. It's just about that cut line. So if you're looking at that, if I'm not, keeping pace or obviously above pace of that cut line, it's easy for me more times than not to pull the plug, and it got easier throughout the year.
Okay.
to pull the plug and be like, I gotta change gears because I'm not on target. Where with 5, even if you had that information with 5, man, you can pull up anywhere and catch 3 in 5 minutes that make your whole day.
Yeah.
That's just the way the format is. And I've done that, a million times in that format, whether it's in the first 5 minutes of the day or the last 5 minutes. But those 3 bites made your whole day.
What's funny, Matt and Ott, is we've talked to a number of guys fishing the BPT, and there's mixed comments on that matter. Some guys are like, no, I've got to stay, I'm not moving, obviously with what Ott said. So many different approaches on how to attack, how to read and react.
Yeah,
so
those are
very, very
180 degrees from what half of the guys say. Half of
Yeah.
them are like, no, I don't run. Once I'm there, I'm going to hunker down because every time I'm running, I'm losing time, and it's harder to make it up then. And
It's very, very cool to
I
get
got
your
a fishing question. This may be obvious. I probably should know this. I might come across as stupid with this question. You mentioned the schooling aspect. We've seen Andy Montgomery catch them schooling or schools of fish. Under docks. We've seen Cliff Pace offshore. We've seen these schools of fish, and then we've also seen like the Sharon Harrison deal stuff where it's picking off individual fish. In your opinion, on any body of water that you go to, especially with the BPT format, are there schools of bass on every lake you go to? Somewhere on that lake, is there a concentrated school of bass? Or sometimes are they all just spread out on the bank? I'm assuming your answer is going to be dependent on if it's spawning season or not.
It is largely dependent on the time of the year, obviously. The thing, and you're saying, when you're saying a group of fish, are you saying just like an area of the lake, or you're saying sitting on spot lock making the same cast?
Sitting on spot lock making the same cast. On what percent of lakes that you go to, is there some spot? Now, it might not be a spot that anyone finds. It might not be. Right. But do you think that there is that unicorn spot on every lake, regardless of the time of the year?
No, I really don't. Because you look at how strong the field is, and even with a short amount of practice time, and some of those places in North Carolina are a prime example because they weren't great, big, huge, vast lakes. They were manageable for 40 boats. Sharon Harris was a great size for 10 boats. But I feel like some of those places, and on some of those, we did find groups of fish. So if there are, they're going to be found. But I don't feel like at every single point in time you're going to find a place where you can sit on spot lock and win the event. There might be pods of fish, I would call, instead of schools, where a place where you might catch 10 or 15 or something. But that unicorn place where you could win every single day, hands down, off of one spot, I don't think so. You could find a spot that gets you through the whole event all the way to the top 10, if we stayed on one body of water. But as far as where you could win every single day on any body of water at any point in time, I don't. It rarely exists. Even a table rock with so many fish, so many groups of fish, no one single spot there was good enough because there were so many places that had 20 fish on them. So you're still not there. I don't feel like there was a place that had 1,000 that you would be able to ride it off of one spot.
One more question then real quick.
Right.
What is the biggest school of bass that you have ever found in your life?
The biggest school. Probably, man, I'm almost going to say that it would have been on Cherokee Lake here in East Tennessee in the fall of all times. And we won a local tournament off of them, and they were actually in a creek channel we were sitting in like 11 feet and throwing into about 7. And we found them the day before and caught about 30 just for fun, but didn't catch any real big ones. And then went back the next day, and I bet we caught 50, out of this little ditch. Just to ever throw with like a DT10. But that was, some of the Kentucky Lake schools I've found over the years that, earlier, like in 09 and stuff, that had had just big wads of them in them. But yeah, that one there at Cherokee was a pretty special one.
Wow. What are your thoughts on the 2020 schedule?
I'm really excited about our schedule. I think it's pretty awesome. We've got something that we're going back to this year. I'm really excited about going back to Kissimmee Chain, but in May. I've never fished in Florida in May. We've all fished down there a lot, and I always heard, man, y'all should be here a different time of year. But we're finally going to get to be there a different time of year. But I think all in all, man, we have got a really solid schedule, a good mix of stuff. Some places that are I don't think it's really got anything brand new, but some places that are, different times and different stuff. Going back to North Carolina, I'm excited about that. Obviously that was an outstanding event this year, not just because I did well, but just because of the size of fish. And, of course, Lake Fork is a special place. But no, I'm really excited about it. And then getting to have some, a couple smallmouth events up there to finish the year out. It'll be interesting with our format to see how those go.
I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the cup events that take place based upon the performance in the regular season events? Mm-hmm. Would you think it would be a good idea to have the cup events immediately following those two events rather than waiting till everything is over? And is that even a possibility that could be considered?
I don't know that it's a possibility that could be considered, just because of scheduling wise. And if those cup events aired sequentially, then I think it would make a lot more sense to have them that way. If they aired live or if they aired in a timely manner along with the other shows, then it would certainly make more sense to have them that way. Since they don't, I don't really know that it matters at all, because they are very much separated from the Bass Pro Tour. The Bass Pro Tour being those separate cup events where we use league boats and league jerseys and all that kind of stuff. The logistics of that, just consider this part of it, just getting the jerseys made. So if we fish events 1 and 2, and then our next event was a cup, well, they've got to have probably 10 days to 2 weeks at least just to get the jerseys made with the right names on them.
Yeah, no,
they don't know who's going to be in them. So there's a lot of, and that's a very small piece of the puzzle, but there's a lot of that stuff that makes it hard to do things that, of what kind of would make sense, it would seem like, but it definitely.
You get to keep those after each cup and all that stuff then? So you end up with like 12 different jerseys by the end of the year?
we keep, so they get 3, you get 3 at the event, 1 sweatshirt and 2 regular jerseys. They get the sweatshirt and a regular jersey back, and you keep one of them. So I do have several cup event jerseys in my closet for
That's
sure.
That's cool.
And
That's
then your regular season jersy.
Yeah.
And then your classic jersey.
Yeah.
So you wore like 5 different jerseys this year.
Oh yeah. Wore a bunch of different ones. Which so in the classic course it was cool. Cool weather. I wore my sweatshirt jersey every day. I'm not superstitious like that. It was just cold and I only had one sweatshirt on. But so I wore that one every day. And after the end of the event, the Bass Pro hat that I wore 2 of the 3 days, and that sweatshirt jersey I signed and actually was able to get to give that to Johnny Moore. So that's something I was really, really proud of doing with that.
He said the S word, superstitious. You got to hit him with it. You said we were going to ask him, so that's a perfect lead-in.
Last night during the Monday Night Football game, there was a black cat that came out on the field during the game, and
really,
it was pretty interesting, pretty cool. It got me thinking: is there any event taking place while you were fishing, not superstition, but just kind of freaked you out? Like, oh, we're done because of that happened. Matt made the comment of, a Lowe's truck driving across a bridge and a
mirror falls off and breaks on your trolling motor or something
like that.
Or you're fishing a bluff bank and all of a sudden you realize you just went under a ladder or something like that.
Yeah. Has anything happened to you on the water where you were just like freaked out and went, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. Yeah.
When I hooked my Marshall or my boat official in the leg this year, because I was hung with a top water, I'm jerking, and it flies back past me, and I see it coming by me, and it's like the angle and the level it went like right by me at about my knee level. That's going to hit him right in the face. That was my thought. That's where it's going. Then I hear he's like, man, you got me. And I'm really scared to turn around because I just know it's in his face. And thankfully it was in his leg. But at that point, I was like, yeah, that probably just ruined my day.
Oh, geez.
But the funny part with that was, so I'm like, man, is it bad? He's like, yeah, I had to pass the barb, and it was, I had 2 treble hooks on it, so I go back there and look, and this was at Smith, which it was on the elimination day, and I was in good shape on making the cut. So I'm like, well, even if my day sucks from here on out, I've already made the cut. But I go back there and take it off the split ring and stuff, and even before this point, he's like, man, I've had a hook in me once before. He's like, I had to go to the emergency room. He said, do you know how to pull it out? I said, yeah, I've actually never done it. I've had it done to me, but I've seen it done plenty. So he's like, so you know how? I said, yeah. He's like, man, that's great. I can't believe it. Man, I've always wanted to learn how to do this. I had to go to the emergency room last time. That was terrible. He's like, man, I can't wait to see how this is done. Are you okay? I was like, dude, I just hooked you. He's like, no, man, I always want to see how you do this. So I cut off a piece of braid, wrapped it around the hook. I'm like, hold this here, and I'm going to jerk it, the whole deal is out of him in just a couple minutes. Dang, man, that was great. I can't believe it. That's so awesome. I can't wait to tell everybody.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, he was excited about it.
Unbelievable. All right, a couple of questions from the instant feedback, and then we'll let you go. Dwayne wants to know, what do you think are the top 3 errors that the weekend guys make during a local tournament?
Top 3 errors a weekend guys make. One that everybody's going to tell you is probably not checking your line enough. Whether that's the night before of making sure that you've got enough, or that you've got fresh line, that you've got the right size, for the bait and bait style and cover that you're fishing, all the way down to retying. A lot of our lakes around here have got a lot of rock and fish a lot of crankbaits, and your line gets chewed up pretty quick. So retying is definitely a big thing. Another one would be, probably something else they hear a lot, but it's just not. It always going back to the same old places. When you fish the same lake, similar times of the year, and man, remember when me and Bill, when we caught these fish over here? Well, that was on a day when it was a lot warmer. It was cloudy, it was very windy, but now you're over there and it's bright bluebird skies and there's not a ripple of wind, and you're trying to catch those same fish that were there 3 or 4 years ago. So just not fishing the current conditions, regardless of your past history on a place. That would certainly be one. And then a third one, man, just as far as trying, not trying some new or different baits or techniques, whatever that may be, stuff that's with our events. We see that of when a buzz toad came out, a few years ago, of always throwing the same style buzz bait, and how much more effective that it can be with a plastic frog on the back, and how that's all anybody throws anymore. But just not trying some of those new things as they come out that can be definitely groundbreaking almost, if you want to go that far. But certainly just not trying something. It's a different spin on an old favorite.
All right, very good. All right, Derek in North Carolina wants to know, what are some of your favorite custom colors that you paint crankbaits?
He's asking a money question there.
Yeah.
One of my favorites would be chartreuse root beer. That's one that, from I'm going to say Bandit was one of the first ones to come out with that in a crankbait. But chartreuse root beer is one of my old favorites. We've got some different shad colors that I paint, like an Alabama shad, or I don't paint, but my buddy does. But Alabama shad is one of them. And then some other kind of more like a thread fin type of color that's got really just kind of a black back, but it's got some blue on the sides and a red throat. Just kind of little different takes on shad patterns. But that chartreuse root beer is one that I've done really well on, especially on places that have a lot of spots. If you got dirty water, off-colored water, and spotted bass, that chartreuse root beer is my go-to.
Very nice. All right, my last question, and then we'll let you go. I'm curious, We've seen classic champs in the past have received signage in their hometown, just outside of the city limits, or when you enter. I'm curious, did your hometown do anything for you? Make a sign, make a banner, or anything like that?
Hold on just a second.
Oh, he's got something here. You know, they have a sign in, I think, Broken Arrow.
Home of
whoever, you know.
In Broken Arrow?
Yeah, for
so that Knoxville, the city of Knoxville did a billboard as you were coming from the west side, if you were coming east into Knoxville from out west, they did a billboard. But so we've been recognized by the state where they did a resolution. The city did a resolution, and then the county did a resolution. So been recognized by all three of those. And our Food City right here in our big town of Blaine had it on their sign right after, and some other places did too. But the billboard, so the Visit Knoxville of the Sports Commission, they actually, I mean, it's like a little billboard of the miniature.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, you know, so they gave us that miniature version of the billboard that was up there.
Kind of your own bobblehead. But it's not. It's your own billboard.
It's my own billboard. So it's I think to scale version of the Lamar billboard that I mean, it's got the little stand and everything.
That is cool.
That is neat.
Cool. Yeah.
You need to get into like model trains now or something and put that thing in there, because now it's to scale and you could have your own custom model train thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. That's the only place it fits in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would it not?
Exactly right.
How cool would that be? You go down into his basement. He puts a conductor hat on. He's got the Western Railroad down there, and then boom, Ott billboard right past the mountain tunnel.
East Tennessee Railroad, Chattanooga Choo Choo's coming.
There you go. That was not outlandish. That was perfect. Thought it was perfect.
That was pretty funny, man. I'll give it up to you on that. All right, any particular plans during the off season? The hunting, duck hunting. What are you doing?
Yeah, just filming for the show. You know, the show that I host on the Outdoor Channel, Hunt for Monster Bass. Filming for that. So I'm actually going to the lakes over near Raleigh next week to go over there and film for that show for about a week or so. But man, that's really, really kind of it. You know, hopefully we'll get to take my kids deer hunting some again this fall. They got into that last year, and Abby and Parker both got their first deer. I've still yet to get one, but they both got one last year, so that was pretty awesome. But no, that's kind of it. Enjoying some downtime. That's November, I've got that filming and stuff, and a little bit other stuff to do. But December, we don't have very much by design, so that's definitely a good thing.
Can you hear the start of the show already? I've already got it in my head.
What's that?
Because you know how he does that show. He turns into like an actor, like a voice. So I can already hear it. He's like, "We're back in North Carolina. I got an itch to catch a big bass. Rolling down the lake. I saw the ripple.
Yep.
I pulled over. Trolling motor eased into the water, and I made that cast.
You're using your FM voice again.
Feather in that. Feather in that fluorocarbon off the thumb.
Okay, that's enough, Matthew. Jeez. Yeah. All right, man. Greatly appreciate you taking time out. Fantastic year, obviously, and wish you the best in 2020, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all having me on. It's always fun.
All right, man. Take care, Ott.
Yep. See you.
All right, see you. There you have it, Ott DeFoe. And wow, that was a cool billboard.
Was cool.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I mean, that would be cool.
Train set.
You know, people get
into Did you have a train set when you were a
No,
kid?
my dad's really into it, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did. He turned our whole porch into a model train set. I mean, it has like the foam mountains and stuff and the little railroad crossings and all that. Yeah. And I thought that billboard would be cool in a model train set.
Yeah.
That's interesting what he says, though, about how he doesn't think that on lakes there's a unicorn spot on all lakes.
You disagree with that?
I'm not going to disagree with Ott DeFoe on anything. It's just, I think, I mean, you look at a lake and you really don't know what the hell's down there and where the fish are. You kind of do with live sight and live scope and electronics and side imaging and down imaging, but no, I mean, there's areas of the lake that you're not doing that in.
Yeah.
And every lake, I mean, who knows? I mean, those fish at Kentucky Lake, think about this. Now everyone's saying, where the fish go at Kentucky Lake and all this. It's not like millions of 5 to 8 pounders of washed up dead on the banks. They're somewhere. And now the common theory is that they're been displaced by the carp and that they have relocated deeper offshore schools, maybe
Somewhere.
become nomadic, but they're somewhere.
Yeah.
And outside of Matt Robertson, the on-'em dude from the classic with the fur coat, no one's been able to really find out where that is.
Good point. Good point. All right.
But it exists.
I'm not going to disagree with him. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Arbuckle?
They're somewhere.
There's a holy grail there somewhere at all times.
I agree. Definitely agree with that. All right, tomorrow, Zell Rowland looking really, really forward to having
Zell. He's going to want his
Zell on the
line
show.
ball back?
No. He probably doesn't even realize we have it.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I might not even bring that one up tomorrow.
All right, I want to thank Ott for taking time out to be on BTL once again. Everybody continue to send in the reviews on iTunes and post comments on our YouTube page. Greatly, greatly appreciated. And we will be back tomorrow on Wednesday. That's it, folks. We're out of here.